Hi there. I'm Robert Earl from the Eco Ranch in far west Texas. Now what does that mean? We'll get into it in a minute. But I wanted to show you. This is the view from my front porch. And that is the sound you hear non-stop 24 hours a day. But this video is a departure from most of my videos. If you're here now, you're either come from now. So I'm going to impart as much information as I can on those of you interested in a homestay out here. And let's get started. Switch directions. I put the mountain behind you now. We're looking down the driveway at the compound that is in fact the Eco Ranch. Rather unique out here, where most people have no trespassing signs, trespassers will be shot, and all those other things. We have a visitor's welcome sign. And that is part of the reason why we're actually opening our house up and welcoming people in a homestay program, or WWOOFers, or HELPX, or workaway. Or, if you don't belong to any of those, but you think you'd like a little internship or a little experience, that's why we're opening our house. Visitors are welcome. We want to show you what we're doing out here, and we want you to see it. Give you a little bit of an idea where we are. We are about in a straight line that-a-way. We are about 25 miles from the Mexican border. A little less than 25, actually. Over here, you can't see it, but over here I can see the mountains of Big Bend National Park. So we've got like that much is Big Bend National Park. Big Bend Ranch State Park is over here. Again, I can see the mountains from Big Bend Ranch State Park. The ghost town of Terlingua is about 20 miles that way, as is the little town of Studi Butte, or if you look at it, it looks like it says Study Butt. But those early, that gives you an idea where we are. Something I need to cover right off the bat, as we are less than 25 miles from the Mexican border, we're in, the Border Patrol doesn't have a name for it, but I call it an inclusion zone. What that means is Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and the DEA have the right to come on our property at any time and snoop around. Now that's part, I don't know if it's part of the Patriot Act or whatever. It's one of those things that that's just the way it is. It's a fact of life out here. What that means is, if you like to smoke a little dope or anything else, really you should look somewhere else, because if they come and they bring the dogs, which I have helped train the dogs from time to time with them, you probably are, it's probably going to be found. So I just want to make a point of that. I personally don't have a real issue, especially with pot. But because of our location, you've got to know that. And locals around here will laugh about that. They get it snuck in, and I'm not sure how. I really am not sure how. But I don't want it here, and I don't want, because I don't want you to get in trouble. So I want to get that out of the way right away. So if that's what you do, if you travel around with your stash, turn it off right now. But let's get going on some of the things that we're doing here and give you a little bit of insight as to what the Eco Ranch is all about. In fact, let me tell you what it is. The Eco Ranch, I designed it, and I started designing it about 17 years ago to be a place where I could showcase all the different ways that you can live a one-planet lifestyle. Here in America, we live at a 5-planet lifestyle. Europe, you live at a 3-planet lifestyle. We only have one planet. I want to showcase a one-planet lifestyle. Rainwater harvesting. And we also conserve our water. We don't ration it, we conserve our water. We generate our own power. We handle our own sewage, which I'll get into with anyone that comes to visit. I'll get into all these things, including the power. We will eventually grow our own food. Right now, and it is the end of April in 2017, right now we are concentrating on construction. So we are going to be building the greenhouse. We will be growing much of our own food. Of course, we're not going to grow coffee and wheat and some things like that, so we'll still have to be dependent for some of it. But we'll grow most of our own food, all naturally. Not organic, all naturally, and I'll get into that again later on. But I'm not against organic, I just don't do organic. All the buildings out here are being built from natural materials or reclaimed materials. Now, what do I mean by that? I have over really, we thought 80,000, but it's actually closer to 100,000 empty glass bottles out here. We've put about 40,000 already into the structures here. So we're building from empty glass bottles. I hesitate to anymore call it a bottle house because I've also got an awful lot of native rock that we're using. Now I use mortar using Portland cement, which is not, Portland is not necessarily a eco-friendly material, but because of its longevity, it becomes an eco-friendly material. But we are building it with native rock, with glass bottles. I'm reclaiming as much lumber as I can. Right now we're gathering all the pallets, waste pallets from the area that we can gather for other projects. We've got a lot of projects going on, and I'd like to show you some of these projects. So I'm going to go behind the camera and walk around and give you an idea. I know this is boring. I can't be entertaining. And I can be entertaining once in a while, but I can't always be entertaining because I have a place to build. Also, I'm not a kid anymore, as you've probably seen. This is the way I dress. This is my trademark, as is the dog that's always walking around. Cascade the Wonder Dog, we call him. Him and Sherman the Toothless One-Eyed Dog. But this is the way I look. Now, in May, I turned 64 years old, in May of 2017, so I'm not a kid anymore. Those of you from that are interested in homestay, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't put in a long work day, and I don't work my fanny off. I do work every day from anywhere from 6 to 8 or 9 hours, but I don't work like most people do. I don't look it. But I am 100% disabled from a couple of rather major accidents that nearly killed me. What happened was the accidents compromised my lungs, so I can't breathe like a normal person. You might even already hear me panting from talking. And my legs aren't receiving the signals from my brain to work properly, so my legs are kind of withering away. I was laughing and telling somebody that I have John Rambo's upper body and I've got Howard Wolowitz's legs. Because of that, if you come here on a homestay program, we're not going to try to work you to death. You're going to work, I expect you to work with me as hard as I work. I work about a half hour and take 10 minutes off, a half hour and 10 minutes off. I expect from a workaway person or a woofer, I expect 3 to 4 hours a day. Certainly you can invest more time if you want in working, or you can do projects on your own, or you can work with the horses. And I don't care if you work with the horses all day long and leave me alone, because the horses need work. But let me show you some of these projects now. Now that I've gotten all that stuff out of the way, let's look at the Eco Ranch and what we're trying to accomplish right now for 2017. Well, this is the first time we've ever had this. You see that hen has got 4 chicks. We are a working poultry farm. Our primary source of protein, I have to call the dog away, Cascade, come here. Our primary source of protein, animal protein, is our poultry meat. We raise the chickens to eat. We also raise them for eggs. This hen has successfully hatched 4 chicks. This is the first time we've had them in the wild hatch. We use an incubator. But that's one of the things that we teach here, that we learn, that you can learn rather, and it's also one of the things that requires some help, and that is feeding them, caring for them. And if you choose to assist in processing, in other words, slaughtering them, you can. That is not anything I would expect of someone. It's entirely up to you. But I did want to show those chicks. That's the first time this has happened, and we're really quite excited. I'd like you to meet Debbie. Debbie's my wife. Debbie and I have been married this year. We'll make 38 years. And with Debbie is Wildfire, right here, that's eating her carrot. And Nemo, who's eating his carrot. Nemo's Debbie's pet baby, and Wildfire is mine, although she's mainly a companion for him. That's something we need a lot of help with, is with the horses. Debbie loves the horses and would love to ride them. Nemo's not been ridden since we've had him, nor has Wildfire. and they need a little bit of retraining, so they're going to be what they call out here a bit hoppy when you get under them. Now at 64, with the back damage that I've had, I'm a little reluctant to get on a bucking bronc, but if I've got a 20-something young man that wants to, have at it. If you're a couple and the young lady would like to work with horses, you are more than welcome to work with these horses from sunrise to sunset, and we won't hold it against you. So we're going to let Debbie work with her horses.
No.
Oh, they just, no.
Ooh, and the kid.
Ooh, somebody's in heat. She's intact and he isn't. All right, we'll let Debbie work with her horses and we'll move on to some of the other projects around here. Well, in the midst of this mess, and I'll explain the mess to you, that wasn't the only hen, that was a surprise hen, but right here is a Muscovy duck who has been sitting tight for 3 weeks on her nest. She's going to hatch out some Muscovy chicks, and again, we're going to let her have those. So we have a working all-natural poultry farm. It's not organic, but it is a working all-natural poultry farm, and we need assistance with these animals and with some of the construction. And since we're talking poultry, let me show you some of the poultry construction. But do notice that in this photo, my focus for 2017 is construction. We aren't doing, we're doing very, very little agriculture. What we are doing in agriculture is a bit exciting, but primarily it's the poultry. Now, Debbie and I just in the last week, and they do that often. In the last week, Debbie and I just finished this. This is the poultry nursery. And it's a nursery. It's kind of a halfway house for chicks that can't really fend for themselves against hen pecking, and they're not really mature enough if they're hens to be assaulted and raped by the roosters. So we keep them in here to grow them up. Then we'll separate out who gets eaten and who gets to join the flock. Now, next to the nursery, you'll see right in front of me right here is probably the fanciest feed bin in the world. That holds a ton of feed. I have to replace the doors, so that's one of the projects. The doors here need to be replaced. We're going to put the roof on the actual coop and bring these walls up so you can get an idea from looking what has to be done. The walls have to come up and enclose this. The roof go over the top. Those are the these are the nest boxes where they lay their eggs. You saw those eggs sitting there. So this is another project that has to be done. Now from the coop, most of the work we're going to be doing is going to be construction work. We're going to be working with masonry and all different kinds of masonry. A couple people have called it alternative masonry because they call my my mortar mixes experimental. But that's the antique mixer that we use. Cascade is standing by my screened pile of sand. So I expect we'll spend a half hour, 45 minutes, even as much as an hour a day screening sand so that I have sand to make my mortar mixes with, and I have gravel to make concrete with. Primarily we're going to be working with mortar because let me show you the things that we have to finish up. As our profile says, we have no real accommodations right yet for this part of 2017. We'll provide you with spaces to put your RV, your camper, your tent, or if you want, you may camp out in the guest bathroom and the guest bedroom, which we have to finish, and that's the project I want to show you. We're doing several kinds of bottle masonry. So if you've given any thought to building with bottles, maybe you've looked at earth ships, we're doing several kinds. Now the wall I'm showing you here, this is a independent single bottle wall. It means it's one bottle thick, and you can see the light coming through it. It's going to go to the ceiling, so I just have a little ways to go. Now when we move to the back wall of the bathroom, that is a light wall, and what we've done is cut the tops off of 2 bottles, taped the middle section together, mortared it in the wall so that the light always comes through. I got a little bit of a pattern there. All the bottle work and rock work that I'm about to show you does have to be cleaned up. You clean it up with muriatic acid And some of the rock work will stain, some of the rock work we won't. Now, another bottle wall that we're doing is this wall here that's going to separate the bedroom from Cascade's tail, the bedroom, and the bathroom. Now on this wall, you can see the necks are exposed, which is the way it is on the back wall. But on this wall, we're actually going to be crisscrossing wire that I've reclaimed and salvaged, thin baling wire, and doing a plaster, an old-fashioned plaster wall there. This bottle wall that looks so messy here with the frames, with the exception of the chimney, which is right there, this bottle wall is going to be plastered over, again, a traditional plaster mix. These are things we're going to be doing for this year. So if you're interested in learning masonry, particularly working with bottles, this is it's a good place to learn, because I've been doing this now for 5 years. I'm self-taught, but I did learn from one of the best. Now I am standing in an open-air patio, so we're looking at the wing of the house as a guest room and guest bedroom and guest bathroom. Once that's finished, we have a place for you folks that are going to homestay to stay. You can stay in this little wing until we build, and we're building another cabin that's out away from the rest of the house. But you certainly will be able to stay here once this is done. If you come and help finish it, you may be the first person to stay here. But I wanted to show you that we're also doing stone masonry with native rock. Now I do a couple different kinds of stone masonry. You can see the wide mortar joints there. I like the joints, and I can teach. Now once the guest bathroom is finished so that we have a working toilet in it, we're going to pull the travel trailer out, because it's sitting right where the master bedroom of the house is going to go. And right out in front here is, I'm building a turret. And the turret is actually going to be the master closet when it's built, and that post is going to go away. So what we're doing out here is we're doing more masonry work. We're using smaller rocks. The joints will be smaller, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit of actual cutting on the rock. And when I say cutting, I mean we're going to be chipping and shaping to get a little smaller joint. Now I'll show you the joints over here. For example, this rock is about an 800-pound rock, and we chipped away and cut this whole side here. Many of the rocks that we're using in the flagstones, I'm cutting and chipping away, shaping them. Still staying with a wider joint. I don't like a very tiny joint. But that's part of what we're going to do. Now you'll notice these slabs here. I have a couple of tons of these slabs. These are miscuts from a quarry here in Texas. They were waste, and I did buy them, but I paid a very low price for them. We're also working on cutting these and polishing. So in addition to learning how to do stone cutting, stone masonry, you also can learn how to do stone polishing. If you want. If you don't like it, then we'll find another job to do. Maybe you like plumbing, maybe you like electrical. Now I've got another project that I think is super cool, and I want to show you what it is. Now behind me you can see the unfinished wall. That's another thing, we can work on that wall as well. But I am sitting in this pile of rocks, and we like to call these rocks clanking rocks. They are a specific type of river stone, and that didn't work right. They make a clanking sound. Hear it? Pick up two rocks. If you're not sure it's a clanking rock, it's a clanking rock. Now, the clanking rocks are for the floor of the bedroom and the bathroom. And the idea was to just take them raw and piece them together, like so. And we were going to have the same wide mortar joints. However, as I picked all the big rocks, I started running into these thin little ones here, these little pieces. At the same time, Debbie and I were talking about tiling the bathroom floors. Well, I have two different wet tile saws, and there's no reason in the world why I can't take these thin, smaller pieces of rock, like this, and this, well, and this, and put them in the tile saw, and actually make a square or rectangular rock out of it, take the bench grinder, and buff the sharp edge off, set these in mortar, clean the joints out, let it set up, and then grout it and seal the rock. I'll be making my own tile from native rock. if that is something that interests you, that's something that you can do as well. Water. So water is not an issue here, but you will learn not to waste water. Water is life, and water is going to be what the next world war is fought over. So we will show you how to conserve water without rationing water and without looking stupid. Let's see what else we've got. If you're interested in brickwork, we have a pallet of brick that was donated. Now, we get a lot of donations from various companies. We are not a non-profit organization, but we tell people what we're doing, that we're trying to teach people how to live responsibly and sustainably, so we do get donations. This brick here was donated specifically to build a Catalan arch. Now, I think a Catalan dome is outside of my skill level, but I can do a Catalan dome. And we will get to the Catalan arch this summer. If someone's interested enough in masonry, particularly brickwork, we can work on the Catalan arch. If someone's interested in stone cutting and polishing, these are my window casements. They have to be cut and make casements and sills, and I have more of them. And these are the bathroom countertops, and also are going to be the guest bedroom bed frame. Again, someone can help me with that. Now, if you're a couple, and if we have a woman that really would like to come out and learn, there's plenty to do, but again, I get into a lot of busy work. Helping Debbie with the caring for the livestock, helping Debbie with our moringa trees and other trees, and I'll show you the moringas last. But also, here comes a rabbit. I thought I shot him yesterday. And cascades right on his tail, and he went in those bottles. Ha! You guys got lucky. I've never gotten that on video. But if we do get a woman out here, a lot of these bottles have to be moved, but you can see these white plastic bottles. Now, I don't want to tell you the whole long, big story, but these bottles were given to me, and then I was injured, and I was down for 3 years unable to work, and these bottles sat out here. Well, you know what the ultraviolet rays did. So the bottles are worthless, but the bentonite clay or cat litter in them is not. And when I was showing you the turret, it was full of bentonite clay and broken bottles. So I was able to take 12,000 bottles out of our stream here that we weren't going to use, and a ton of bentonite clay to fill in the bottom of the turret. All of this has to be disposed of, cleaned up, all these bottles picked up. These are projects that we can invest an hour and a half a day in. I have to move all these tires. Again, that's getting a little bit heavy. But we have to, we do have to police up and clean up and straighten up a lot of the stuff. And of course, I do all the cooking, but that doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't cook. Now, I've mentioned moringa trees a couple of times. We've found that moringa is an excellent, excellent vegetable protein source. And we found that we can grow it here. Now, I grew several trees last year. I had about 15 of them that went up to, they actually got up to 15 feet. And they died back because we had a very cold winter. But they didn't die all the way back. This is my I Am Groot tree, because when they first grow, they look like that baby Groot on Guardians of the Galaxy, and now the new Guardian of the Galaxy movie. But they're sprouting up from the roots, so the roots didn't die. And that side always has been difficult to grow, but this side's really come back. Look at that. We are ready to start eating these. And you pick these, you actually can eat the leaves. If you get a big handful uncooked, they're a bit bitter, a big handful, but 5 or 6 are not bitter. You can dry the leaves and make powder, and I most certainly will be happy to teach anybody how to do that. We put them in our food and in our salads. And they're growing and coming back vigorously, and we're going to grow and plant more. We have more planted. These are the remains of the old ones, but they're sprouting from the bottom slowly if the chickens would stop eating them. We are able to grow things here. One last thing that Debbie and I are doing out here, we have a lot of space and we have a lot of prickly pear cactus. So we're putting the prickly pears. I've got this bed here that is new that Debbie and I just planted. Now we've got other cacti in here too. But we actually will eat the prickly pear paddles. We mainly harvest the fruits to make prickly pear juice out of it. And I really enjoy the prickly pear juice. We have these two, and then we have a very, very large group that's up there behind the Desert Museum trees. This is a yucca, and I hate to say it's a Thompson. I believe it's a Thompson yucca, which is one of the more desirable ones. It has 3 heads. These blooms, if you choose to, you can eat these blooms. Whoop, and you can get stung too. But you can eat these blooms, and they're very nutritious. They do, like everything in the desert, have a slight bitter aftertaste. So anything you eat out here in this desert is going to give you a slight bitter aftertaste. I will show you, and we can harvest some of the food that you can forage. If society ended tomorrow, this desert could sustain Debbie and I and the dogs and the chickens indefinitely with just what you've seen so far, without it even being finished. Hey, so we're back to that awesome view of Agua Fria Mountain. And if you look at a map of Texas, you find Agua Fria Mountain. You go about 5 miles to the east-northeast of Agua Fria Mountain, and that's where the Eco Ranch is. Go to my website, eco-ranch.com, ECO-RANCH.com. I have the coordinates. You can find the exact coordinates and find it on Google Earth. We also have our YouTube channel, which is a YouTube channel, but it is Eco Ranch USA, all one word, Eco Ranch USA. I also own Eco Ranch US, but for some reason, don't know what the password is, so I can't get it. So Eco Ranch USA is the YouTube channel. There's 130 videos there. I hope I've covered pretty much everything here. A couple more things, and not really that necessary, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We don't push politics or religion on anybody. We actually have no religion, but we don't push it. We don't accept it pushed on us either. Politically, we are progressive liberals politically. We are disappointed in the election last November here in the United States. A little disappointed in Brexit, and we're watching what's going on in France right now. By the time most of you see this, the election will be over in France. But the world is changing a bit, and it's changing. Maybe it's getting a little weird to my eyes. I hope it's getting weird to your eyes, because I'd hate to think my eyes are getting old, even though they're 64. This is a place where we're the real deal. This is a real, sustainable, all-natural, medium-sized poultry farm. We raise our eggs, we sell them to our friends locally here, we eat the meat, we eat the eggs. We're going to grow our own foods. It is a sustainable, new homestead living a one-planet lifestyle. Now, there's no singing bells or singing bowls. There's no flutes in the morning. There's no gazing crystals. There's none of that stuff. I was 20 once, 20-something once. I went through all that phase and all that weirdness. When a jet goes by, it's got a contrail, a condensation trail, not a chemtrail where they're trying to make me sterile, blind, or submissive. I don't go for that stuff. Debbie and I don't. We are the real deal in a sustainable, natural environment. We can show you how to live in this desert, and here's the thing. If you can learn to live in this desert, imagine what you can do in your home, in the forest, where you've got lakes, rivers, streams. You've got 4 good seasons. Start here, and then expand as your world takes you. I'd love to have you come and visit if you like what you see. If you don't like what you see, I want to thank you for watching and wish you all the best. You guys that are watching this, us baby boomers kind of blew it. It's your world now. Take our knowledge, what we're able to give you, adapt it to what you want to do, go out, make the world a better place, and make sure the world stays around. Thanks for watching, and I hope you contact me for a homestay.